Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to ZBrush Live. This is Kermaco mech design and or hard surface and character design, but we're focusing on mechs, so it's mech design, right? And yeah, so like, if you're watching this, drop a like. Doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us out a lot. And if you like what you see and you want to see more of it, subscribe. It's me and a bunch of other great artists streaming on this channel, and you'll be notified when we're on or if we've done something new. So subscribe, ring the bell, do all the good things that you do on YouTube or whatever service you're on. Leave a comment if you have one, and if you have any questions and you're watching this not live, leave it in the comments and I'll try and answer them. Also, if you have a question while I'm doing the stream, you can just ask it in the chat and I'll be more than happy to answer it for you. And that's part of what this is all about, right? So don't be shy. If you have any ZBrush questions, anything at all, just ask and I'll do my best to answer it for you, okay? With that, if you guys can let me know in the chat if you can hear me, that would be awesome. And as soon as I get a check, I can start. Okay, so this is what we're working on. We're going to continue to work on this today. And yeah. So yeah, please let me know if you are, if you hear this and you're good with that. By the way, I am using Radial Z, and it is an awesome, awesome product. If you don't know anything about it, and you are a kind of a seasoned ZBrush user, it will speed up your workflow. Okay, thank you, Wogs. Yeah, it will speed up your workflow quite a bit. I am working on it. However, it is taking me a little bit of time. Here, I'll kind of show you a little preview of my menu. So it is going to take me a little bit of time to get this thing working fully. But for now, it is a pretty amazing way to choose brushes and menus and whatnot. So stay tuned. I will be showing that soon enough. I also wanted to mention, and I'll mention it again at the end of the stream, that I will be taking the rest of this month off as well as August, and I will be back streaming in September. Okay, so just a heads up, I will be streaming regularly after September, but I am going to take a little bit of time off, partially because I've got some personal things to attend to. and I'm going to be missing doing this every other Friday night, but hopefully I'll be back refreshed and ready to continue. Okay. All right. So no questions so far. You're doing a project in Cinema 4D, Lepot, and that's awesome. Yeah, you know, I quite used to work in Cinema 4D quite a bit, but have had some things come up where I'm not going to be working with it for a while until things get in a different state. But yeah, Cinema 4D is awesome. Paired with Redshift, it's a really cool workflow. It's always great when I'm working with a client and they use Cinema 4D. Like, it's such a refreshing thing if they are using Cinema 4D. Most of the times nowadays they're using other products, but when I do get a project and it is a Cinema 4D project, it's always fun. All right. Okay, so here I'm just kind of doing a little bit of adjustment here on this leg, just getting it to be more chunky, assuming it's going to be lifting all this weight. It's got to have some heft to it. And then another thing I also wanted to work on is this piece right here. So again, working very, very loose and with very as little polygons as I can, just to make sure that I get the general shape to work. And once that is done, then I get into putting details. So the most detailed parts in here are the guns, and that's because I brought them in via Kit Bash. And if you want to know the process of how that went, you can watch the prior episodes. This is, I think, episode 8. I think this one's going to go a little bit long just because it's kind of a pretty involved mech, and I do want to get it to final state. And I will take it into Substance Painter as well, by the way, to color and paint it. All right, so here I'm going to hide the legs for a second, hide these guys, as well as these guys, just to kind of make sure that this thing... Oops. Yeah, things like what I just did. I mean, if I'm doing this with radials, it would have been so much faster to switch to this brush. And all that is being worked up, but I don't want to just jump in willy-nilly. I actually want to do a little bit of pre-planning and make sure that I've got all the settings correct. All right, so no questions so far. How's everybody doing? It's pretty hot here in LA tonight. I don't know where you guys are, but hopefully it's not as hot there. All right, so here I'm just kind of thinking about this thing rotating, and it's going to hit this over here. So maybe lift this part up. By the way, I just saw something. I'm going to try it, see if it works in this mode too. I'm going to go to Move Elastic, turn AccuCurve on, and see if this goes any better. It's pretty much more the same. At this resolution, I don't think it matters as much, but as you add geometry, it might make a difference. Well, maybe not. Let's get back to just normal move. Okay. All right, so again, I'm just kind of thinking about this whole thing rotating, and I want it to clear this. So this top part has to clear this part. So I'm just going to move this up. Again, it's not just the shape of things, and that's kind of what is troublesome to me with some of the AI mechs that I've seen, is that they might look cool and menacing, but they definitely are not feasible, meaning I don't think they will work. You know, like if you put them in a movie or something, you know, whenever I'm designing a mech, I usually make sure that it is feasible, that it will work, that it will rotate, that it will do the things it's supposed to do. Because a lot of times when designers design these things in movies and they put them in the movie, you know, at some point during the animation process or whatever, they discover, oh no, this will not work. And then, you know, and then they just, you know, to hide that, they just make the animation worse or whatever. But, you know, as humans, we are pretty... our senses are pretty fine-tuned to things working a certain way. And if they're not going to work, then it's just, you know, our mind registers it. And it makes the experience a lot, you know, less, I guess, is the word I'm trying to come up with. All right, that's good. Let's see if I can go up a little bit more. And it's always fun to use these ZBrush lines like this one here as kind of a guideline. So I just want to make sure that this clears it. Okay, so this is the clearing part. Let me lower this thing down as well. Okay, and then this one. And again, these cylinders are just basically telling me how things are going to be rotating and whatnot. So now I've got all this gap here, which kind of doesn't look very good. So what I'm going to do, so this is what I need up here. And this is what I need as far as clearance for this to turn. However, it's kind of made the mech look a little bit awkward. So I have to figure out what to do here to make it work. And the trick is I cannot go below this line. So this is the kind of the line here. So whatever this does, it has to not, you know, interfere with that. So one of the things I can try is to bring this down. Let's see if that works. Again, just want to make sure my clearing line is clear. It's so far so good. So maybe I can do something like this. And this will be kind of the base of this. And I can probably combine these two together somehow. But let's see what the silhouette of that looks like. And just like as I thought, it doesn't look that appealing. And I'm always checking the silhouette over here. And I can make this a little bit bigger if I need to just to make sure that I'm creating something that has an interesting look to it. So if you guys had a chance to watch Paul Gaboury's stream this morning, he streams on Friday mornings, and today's was really good. If you get a chance, go watch that after this or at some point. But again, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get to know when he's on live. And he's a good one to ask questions to because he knows ZBrush like nobody else. Okay, so I think that's going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this part. And the reason why I'm just duplicating is it has the same number of polygons, and I'm going to create a front part here. So these are the parts that are going to rotate. Right, so this is going to be part of the legs. I don't really need, you know, I can move this part up. Do something like that. Another thing that I've noticed, which is interesting to me, is that there's been a glut of TikTok and I guess Instagram reels and whatnot of short form videos of like how to do certain things in ZBrush. And that seems interesting to me. I mean, some of those I save, I bookmark, just because they might be things I've never encountered before. They might be interesting, or somebody might ask me about something and that might be an answer. I could just give them like, here, watch this video. However, I'm kind of worried that that's going to be kind of what takes over. And I think that people will just, you know, not be learning some of the important things that they need to know. Because when you watch this video, this stream, you're not just learning about ZBrush, but you're also learning about the process, the approach, some of the kind of the mental things that I do to get the design to work. You know, it's just some fundamentals, important things that you probably won't be able to get in a short form video. And the other thing that really worries me is that when people watch these things, it will reduce their attention span. And it's already, you know, I mean, it's already pretty dismal the way it is now. But if you have a short attention span and and that becomes a habit, then you want to ingest everything informationally as a short attention span thing. And while it might work for certain things, it's not a silver bullet. And I think if you do need to at some point have something that requires a longer attention span, it will get more and more challenging. So it's kind of an interesting thing that's happening right now. And the effects of which we probably won't know for a while, but already, you know, I think people are starting to complain. Already, phones are being banned in schools for younger kids, and I think there will be a definite kind of measure to make sure that, you know, there are cognitive aspects of us, of humanity, that need to still continue on. So I think it's kind of the same thing with AI. It's just like, you know, it's instant gratification by getting an image. And most of the people don't know that what they're getting is garbage. They think what they're getting is great, where it's actually very sub, if not, you know, garbage. You know, I mean, there's a reason why they call it slop. It's because that's what it is. So, not to say that, you know, AI has its, you know, people say I'm anti-AI, but I'm not. Actually, I think the technology is really cool, and I do follow it, and I do, you know, look at what's going on and with the news and all that, and I definitely have processes that I look at. But for the most part, I think that the misconception of what it can and can't do is rampant, and the hype is so great that that people just tend to believe everything and tend to make up, you know, hero stories about what it can and can't do. It is unmistakably the biggest, you know, thing that's going to happen to, you know, all the generations that are alive today. But I don't think people realize what is happening and what is not happening. I think that reality is the thing that's going to be an interesting wake-up call for some people. But again, overall, just awesome to see all the new things out there that are possible now. All right. Again, just working on the silhouette, working on these legs a little bit just to get them to some state of, you know, and I don't know if it's better if this is inwards or outwards. I think outwards works better. Okay, definitely. Right, and I'm again manipulating very few polygons to just get what I want, and getting these to be refined later is okay. Silhouette looks good, and I might just even try something else here. What if I give this a little bit more girth this way? It's not bad. When I did that, I also need to do it over on this side here. Okay. The only other thing I'm kind of wanting to do, and I'm going to do it, it's going to go over the guns, is maybe make this a little bit wider. Maybe like about there. You can just move the guns outwards. And again, these guns are just placeholders. I've got a kind of a good version of them that I'm working on that I will replace these with. Okay, symmetry, move these out. Like so. All right, so as a gun mech, this is looking pretty good. Now, what if this thing was to carry some other weapons? Maybe some missiles, maybe some drones or whatnot. I got to figure that out. Maybe see if I can extend this part out. Again, let's go to poly. Speaking of which, I was troubleshooting an issue I was having with Radial Z, which I don't know if it's a bug or if it's me. It's probably me, but that was the gradient thing that you guys saw. I'll probably solve that after this stream later tonight or tomorrow. Okay, if it is a bug, I'll notify them. But as I said, it's probably something I did wrong. Okay, so this is good. These guns are not going to rotate past this point anyway. So I've just kind of created a bit of a platform there. And so the question is, which way do I want to go? So here's another nifty trick. I'm going to go to, because I can't use that trick just yet. Again, I can. So here's an interesting trick. I'm going to go ahead and do the power tip here. So you guys know. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use Z modeler, but I'm going to hit Alt and just click on this polygon here. And then I'm going to use QMesh. And with QMesh, I'm going to pull this out, but I don't want it to be connected. So if I hold Control, it just doesn't connect it, right? So now I've got a whole other polygon that I've started, and I'm just going to do this to it, and I'm going to do this to it, like so. And also I'm just going to say split to similar parts. Okay, so now these are its own subtool, and I'm going to, this is what I'm going to do as an exploration of whether or not I want the missiles to be connected on the edge here, or do I want them to be on top? Or do I want both? Or do I want three, right? So these kinds of things I can do very, very quickly in ZBrush to kind of get the right design that I want. I'm kind of liking the ones on the side more than the top, to be honest. I'm liking this design more. So, and I think I'm going to stick with just one, but bigger. Something like this. Okay, that works. And again, I'm just not fully finalized on this yet. But I just wanted to make sure it kind of clears this. And then another thing I'm going to try here is just to see how far down this can go and if that's going to be interesting. I can also see if it'd be interesting for it to go outwards. I think I like it like that. Maybe go all the way to here, like so. All right, another thing that I want to make sure everybody's aware of is that I am working isometrically, right? So I don't have perspective on. When I'm doing these design changes, perspective can definitely change how things look from the different angles. So make sure to, when you're doing design work like this, make sure that your perspective is off. What if these were at an angle? Too cliche. I'm just going to keep them like this. Okay. So again, I'm really liking what I'm seeing silhouette-wise. So we can start now working on these things individually, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and start working on the hull. So I've got primary forms here. So at this point, it's a good idea to just kind of, I'm happy with this primary form. I'm going to keep it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start a new, Here, I'm just going to call this builders, and I've kind of come up with a new way of doing this. Just because if people are working on my models, they'll know where these pieces are. So here, I'm just going to use my insert brush and replace the star with one of these guys. And then I'm just going to just make a small hammer like this. Okay, and this will be my builder's icon. And then under here, I'll create a new, I'll just duplicate it, whatever. And then I'll create a new folder and call it builders. And in this folder is where I will put all my builder parts. So here is my mech. I like this part. I want to keep a copy of it just in case I need it. So I'm just going to copy it, go here and paste it into this folder right there. Delete this part. And I'm going to rename this folder to builders folder. And I'm just going to rename this to builders so I can find it easily. Right, so this is where all the builder pieces are. And so I know I have a copy of this. I can start messing with it. So the first question I need to ask myself is, how many pieces should this be broken into? And I'm tending to not want to break it up at all. I'm tending to want to keep this exactly the way it is. So now I just have to figure out if there are pieces that need to be coplanar or if it's good the way that things are. And the way to get things to be coplanar, like for example, this is not coplanar. And the way you can find out is if you triangulate this. And by the way, a good way to triangulate in ZBrush, here's another power tip for you guys. So if I want to triangulate this, and here I'm just going to duplicate it to have a triangulated version so I can see the different triangles, right? And what I'm going to do here is go to Decimation Master. Hopefully I remember how to do this. Decimation, where are you? Decimation Master. Okay, and so what you do here is you reduce let's see, how did I do this before? Was it Decimation Master, or I said a power trip and I totally forgot what it was, but there's a way to triangulate, and I'm pretty sure it's this. I'm going to pre-process this, and I'm going to say % decimation is 0, and let's see what this does. Decimate current, solo, yeah, that's not it. Okay, all right, just give me a second here. I'm going to look at my notes. See if I can find it. Oh, yeah, set percentage of decimation to 100 is what I need to do. That's why I take notes. Percent decimation, change that to 100%, and let's do it. Let's delete the caches. Whoa, I didn't need to do that. No worries. Didn't really do much, but what I'm going to do is decimate current at 100, right? So do that. And I need to pre-process it again because I deleted the stuff. Okay. And decimate current at 100. So now it's triangulated, right? So I've got two of them down on top of each other. So here it is triangulated. And here I can look and see what is coplanar and what's not. Another way to find out what is coplanar and what's not, and what I mean by coplanar is like they're on the same plane, if you don't remember it from your math days. But what I can do here is I can also go in and polygroup this, and polygroup it by normals, and what I could do is set a very small normal angle. So the maximum angle is 45 here. Let's take the maximum angle and make it like 2. Oh, how did I switch to this tool? It's weird. Where'd it go? Okay, undo, redo. Did I delete it by accident? No, there's no way. Here it is. Okay, I just probably hit down arrow or something. All right, not a problem. Okay, go back to here again under, I'm going to solo this out because it'll be easier for us to see it. And I'm going to go to polygroups and groups by normals, and let's do it. Okay, so now we can see, right? So here we can see what is coplanar and what's not. I mean, these seem to be somewhat coplanar, at least coplanar to the angle of, what did I choose here? 4. Let me go to 2. I don't know. Oh, I know what's going on. Numlock. Okay, not a problem. Okay, now we're good. Okay, so this is going up and down, and now it's still going up and down. No, it's not. Okay, so here, let me change my number to 2. Okay, and then let's say group by normals. And so now I can see that there's definitely a lot of things that are not coplanar. Like these seem to be coplanar, these green ones, but this one is not. And also here, I'm going to delete by symmetry just to kind of see what's going on. So delete by symmetry X. So I can just look at one side and make sure. And I just basically want certain things to be coplanar. So I want all of this to be coplanar right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go in and change this. Right, so I'm just going to go ahead and choose this. Holding Alt down, 2, 3. I was going to say do nothing for now. I don't want to insert edge loops. I don't want to do anything except just mark some polys. Actually, I'm going to just do it this way. Polygroup is single poly. Okay, this one. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 2. Oh, I know what's going on. Symmetry's on. I don't want it to be on. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I want all these to be coplanar, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say mask by polygroup. Oh, I'm on edge, sorry. Mask by polygroup. Island. Okay, just click on that, invert that mask. Oh. Just going to say do nothing for this. Okay, so not edge actions, do nothing. Polygon actions, polygroup island. Okay, do that. Why is it not doing it? Nothing is masked. It should do it. Maybe it's, oh, it is doing it. Okay. And now what I want to do here is mask polygroup island. Okay, invert that mask, press W, and then if I just put my gizmo right here, now I know that this is the plane I want. And if I move this, now I know for a fact that all these are now coplanar. And to check it, I can just do group visible or group by normals again. And you can see that all these now have the same polygroup color, which is what I want. All right, I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just not even going to do a select at this point. I'm just going to mask. So I'm just going to mask one, all these. Invert that mask, press W, put my gizmo where the plane is, and just, oops, that's not right. Do this one more time. Just click here. Okay. And now these are coplanar, right? And again, if I do this, you'll notice that all these become the same color, which is good. Now these guys over here, I don't really need them to be coplanar. I think it'd be nice if these two were. So again, I'm just going to mask all these guys. One. This. Invert the mask. Put the gizmo over here. And make them all coplanar. And run this. Okay, so that's kind of the idea, and I can just do this for just the major. I don't want to need to do this for everything, but I will need that. I'll do them with just the ones that matter, like these ones over here, and mask a poly. Okay, does all of them. Invert that, press W, pop this in. You know, I know somebody said I love these tips, and I agree with you. They're really cool. However, like if this was the entire video, if the tips were the entire video, people would be like, okay, what's the context within which this is happening, or why is this happening? So they wouldn't even know. They'll be like, oh, this is a cool tip, and then, you know, all right, they will kind of be perplexed as to what the reasoning behind it is. Okay, so here I'm just going to hide the polygroup coloring. And by the way, that's over here under polyframe. If you do this, then you basically get a uniquely colored polyframe. Turn dynamic on by mistake. So now I'm just kind of looking at this. And if you look at game meshes, they kind of look this way. You can see there's a lot of unnecessary polygons here, and it's kind of circular, and I don't really know if I need that. But it's going to be kind of a challenge to get rid of all that. So let me see if I can do it. Yeah, there's this kind of cut in over here, which I don't really want. So the best way to do this, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but it's got to be done this way, is I need to delete all these polygons that are just, you know, I don't really need this kind of level of curvature here. So I'm just going to delete these polygons that are causing this bit of traffic jam of polygons here. Again, I want to keep it nice and simple. And getting all these to be coplanar is going to be a pain in the butt, so I don't really want to deal with that. So I'm just going to get rid of all these things. Maybe this one too. Again, I'm doing this on half the mesh, so it's going to be easy to just mirror it after I'm done. Okay, I kind of like this inlet that I did, but it seems like just need to make some adjustments here. So I'm just using the regular move brush. I'm going to let this autosave. And we'll continue on. So I guess the kind of the difference here is I'm not just making something that already exists. I'm actually designing it on the go. Now the problem is going to be that I'm going to have to get this back into quads at some point, but it's fine. Get rid of that, get rid of this and this. Here's another nifty trick, is that if I want these points to be aligned, I can just select these points. And by the way to select is by masking, but you just invert the mask and then it basically gets rid of everything else. Press W, You can use go to masked center, and the key for that is under tool masking, go to mask center, which is here. Right here. Super useful. And then what I'm going to do, just rotate. I'm going to place the gizmo here and rotate it the way I want it to go. So now it's moving these points. And if I just use the scale, it just lines up those points that way. And then I use it this way. And I know that all these points are aligned both horizontally and vertically. Let's just make one of these. Okay. Okay, and all right. So I think that's good. Okay. All right, so now I just, now comes the puzzle of connecting these up. There's one quick way of doing it, and that is by using close hole. And just clicking here and seeing what that gives us. So it gives us something a little bit better than what we had before, but it's still not what I'd like, but I can work with this easily. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and, you know, these seem to be coplanar, so that could work for me. And I think the rest is okay too. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and delete some edges as well. Delete edge. Delete this edge. No, that's not counting. I'm going to keep the triangulation for now, just to get some sort of... Okay, again, to get something coplanar here, I'm just going to go ahead and... Oops, why did this come back? Because I need this. I just don't need the fill. Oh, I guess it's just going to preempt. Okay. What I'm going to do here is polygroup, a single polygon, and I'm just going to group these guys. It's really dangerous to keep delete edge on, or delete anything on when doing ZModeler. So if you're done with deleting, it's best to just go in and turn off the deleting options. Okay, so I want all these polygons to be coplanar, right? So I'm just going to mask them. Okay, invert that mask. Oop, what happened? Okay, invert that mask. Again, put my gizmo where I want that plane to be. I think it's just clicking here and doing that does it more or less, and then just straighten it out. Okay, so now I know that that whole piece is going to be coplanar. It's probably messing this up a bit, but that's fine. Okay. Another weird thing that happened, I guess here I did a close hole too. Okay, so far so good. Let's just mirror and weld this on the other side, see what we get. Okay, you can see here that these points are not connecting, but I can just use weld points with a wider tolerance and just connect them up. Press D just to kind of get an idea if there are any gaps. And I don't see any, so we're good. Okay. Let's see what this looks like without any... I mean, I do see some triangulation in certain areas where I want it to be planar, like over here. But I can do that. So another way, to kind of solve this problem is to retopo, right? And retopoing something this low res is going to be pretty easy to do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and switch to the retopo brush. And that's over, where are you? Retopo brush. And by the way, just to let everybody know that all of these, or or most of these little patches that I have are ones, or the patches that are here, like all of these guys. The majority of them were made by me and for Maxon. So, all right. So here I'm just not going to activate symmetry for now. Well, let's do it. Why not? Okay. So now I'm just, as I click, it's going to ask me if I want to modify this thing or if I want to. Do I want to convert this to a retopo mesh, or do I want to make a retopologize this? And for this one, I'm going to say yes. I want to. Whoa. Oh, I don't. Do I have solo on? I don't. Where'd that go? Did I inadvertently delete it? Oh no, I'm sorry. I did say yes, which basically means that, and this is hidden, which basically means that I do want to place points on here, which is not what I really wanted to do. So I'm just going to delete this for now. Okay. Revisit that process. I don't know, my transparency got turned on. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, right? I'm going to say, okay, retopo. Okay, topology brush, click here and say no. And if I say no, now I'm actually editing this mesh, right? So I'm using the retopology brush tools to edit this mesh. One thing I like to usually do when I'm doing, I'll leave the poly groups on for now, but I usually what I'm going to do, and I do have activate symmetry on. So if I want to delete, let's say this edge, I can hold Alt down and click on it and it deletes it. I guess it deletes the whole thing. That's not good. Yeah, I don't know why it's deleting the whole thing because this is a quad. It should not delete it. I'll try this one too. I guess it will do it for all of them. So I've got two choices, and I don't know. I'll mention this to them. I don't think this is by design. Because if I hold Alt down and delete this edge, it should just delete this edge. It shouldn't delete the whole quad. Okay. Yeah, that should not happen. I wonder if I don't have symmetry on, if that'll fix it. Nope, same problem. Okay, I will bring this to their attention. Okay, so I'm not going to be using this way of doing it. I can always use ZModeler and delete these edges as well, or I can just retopo the whole thing. So I have to decide what to do. At this point, I'm thinking of just doing the manual retopo. All right, so I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did before. I'm going to go ahead and click on the retopo brush, click here. Oh, see now, basically, this is another thing you should know about. So it puts these kind of marching ants around this, which basically says it's a retopo object. So if I click on the retopo brush, it will automatically continue, let me continue retopoing it, which is not what I want to do. So there's two ways of getting out of this. The best way is you just duplicate it, and the duplicate will not have the marching ants, so you can just work on that one. And that's what I'm going to do here. Actually, I don't really even need this one. I'm going to delete it. Okay, and I'm just working on this one. I'm going to retopo it, and this time when I click here, I'm going to click yes. So now I'm in retopo mode. It hides it because it was hidden before. So now I'm going to turn solo off. I'm going to go to one of these views. I go to view 2 and just view these two things, right? And this is where I'm on. So now I can start putting my points. I like using the mouse with the retopo brush more so than the tablet. Okay, I'm going to put a point here. I'm going to put a point here. And the reason why I'm putting this point here and not over here, which makes more sense to put, is because, again, I know that this is going to be coplanar, and then I can just make that bigger. One here, one here. Okay, and it's always good to go ahead and put your, just don't want to do that. It's always good to, I didn't mean to clear the points either. All right, I'll do this again. Not a big deal, right? It's always good to bring in your polygons when you want to. So here I just need to make my brush size bigger. Okay, there's one. And again, I'm going to try and keep this to a minimum. One thing to note here is that I don't really like the red that they've chosen for the retopo, because even with transparency on, it kind of looks funky. So my trick to get rid of that is if you click on fill over here, it just changes it so that it doesn't have a fill, right? So now it's white, it's better, more easily visible. So now I'm just going to extend this out this way, and I don't know why it's doing two of them. Maybe this created a mirrored thing. I'll just put some points here, make life better, and then because these might not be coplanar, and then just use Alt here on the edge to drag this out to here, adjust this point. And by the way, this retopo brush is really awesome. It's like, you know, a dream come true for me. Okay, same thing here. See, what I worry about is like somebody will watch my power tips and go like, oh yeah, I can make a lot of money putting these on TikTok. And then they put them on TikTok and then they get like thousands of views. And, you know, they feel like, oh yeah, you know, I'm doing a service to the community. And they're really not. First of all, they're stealing, but it's just fine. I mean, you know, I'm not like copywriting my tips and tricks or whatever. But on the other side, you know, I think that they're just not really understanding the whole point of what's going on here. Anyway, hopefully I'm not giving somebody ideas of what to do. All right. Take this out like this, take it down to here. And again, just kind of creating a cage that's basically going to have the general shape that I want. I know things are going to be coplanar. Here I'm going to hold Alt down, or sorry, Space bar down and put an edge loop right here. Extend this down like so. Keep it coplanar. Extend this out to here. Sometimes it just kind of flips back to red. I don't know why, but that's fine. It's an easy way to get back out. Okay, so now I've got this going on like this. I'm just going to add an edge loop over here. Then go out like that with this. Go out like that with this. Okay. Then go outwards this way. Go outwards this way. I could have done that kind of with less steps, but I just wanted to do it with more just to kind of get a better idea of where I want things to be. Okay, so here we go. Now this way, I'm just making less polygons for the shape that I want. It's going to create a more angular shape, and also I'm going to get rid of some of the weird topology that I had before. And if I solo this, you kind of can see that this is what I'm working on. Let's turn double on so we can see the underneath. Okay, very cool. And I know this is kind of a hero piece, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it. Yeah, and if somebody wants to do the clipping of the tips or whatever, I mean, at least refer back to this video so the people getting the tip get an idea of like where it's from or what the whole point of it was, or, you know, in what kind of situation should something like that be used. All right. And there's a lot of calculations going on in my head as to what the best way to do this is. By the way, it's not just like a mechanical thing. There's some kind of thought process behind everything that I'm doing here. Okay. And the whole point is not to have to do this ever again. So I just want to kind of measure twice, cut once here. There definitely is an element of Zen in Retopo. Absolutely. I think it really connects you with your model. It's just a little bit of, and again, I mean, I think Retopo, there's different types of Retopo. There's Retopo for games. There's Retopo for, 3D printing. There's a lot of reasons why you Retopo, and not every one of those Retopos is the same thing. So, I'm going to edge loop over here. Oops. Right, some weirdness happening over here. I don't know why. Let me see this thing. Okay, here's another kind of interesting thing is if you're working and retopoing and things are not going right, it means somehow the symmetry got broken. So if you just do a mirror and weld, I think that kind of gets things back in order. All right, let's go back to this. Yeah, something's kind of funky over here. I don't know what. There we go. Whatever it was, figured itself out. Right, so this retopo is not going to be for a game engine or for anything else except finding the simpler shapes so that I can I can have this model be the way I want it to be. And I'm trying to get, sometimes you just need to move off and back onto the model. Here, I don't know why it doesn't understand that I want to add an edge loop over here. It's always good to check your mesh just to make sure everything's good. I think everything's fine. I don't understand why. I mean, maybe if I turn that off. Okay, see, I've got a little problem here already inside. Excuse me. Ugh. And it's that these polys are need to be deleted. This inside piece needs to be deleted, and that could cause issues. And then hopefully those issues are gone. And then, yeah, see this gap over here? That's not good. So I'm just going to do the weld points again. Oh, still too far. Okay, I'm going to increase the weld distance a bit. Okay, here we go. All right, now the inside part is good. And, things like that could be causing issues because it's non-manifold geometry. And now if I go back to my Retopo brush over here and turn off the red and go to Alt, I should be able to. I guess still not. Yeah, kind of something has happened. I'm going to reset the brush just for kicks. See if that fixes it. Right. Inadvertently, I reset all brushes. Okay, yep, that fixed it. Whatever had happened is no longer an issue. But it's still an issue over here. What the crap? It just doesn't want to add an edge loop over here. I don't understand why. I guess I could do it another way, but I just don't understand what is going on. I think, yeah, it's not selecting this as an edge. The normals flipped. I hate it when things like this happen because it really breaks your kind of, yeah, the normals are flipped. That's so weird. So these inside edges have flipped normals. So strange. Okay. Right. So this would be an interesting thing to show you how that's fixed, right? So we know which ones they are. They're these ones. Right. So I think they're just these polygons. I'm just going to select these polygons right here, invert my selection, and go to display settings and flip these polygons. And I'm hoping this will fix it. And okay, back to red for some reason. Okay, and turn double off. Yep, that fixed it. But then these other things now are, okay, what is the reason for this? Honestly, it's probably easier for me just to delete these polygons and redo them. Okay, I think we're good now. But somehow this weld didn't happen. Let's do it one more time. Weld points. Okay. And let's make sure. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, that should have fixed it. So now if we go back to the retopo brush, I think we should be able to drop our, yeah, here we go. Yep. So again, you know, if you're just watching tips, you don't know why this happened or what would cause it or how to fix it. So if you watch this whole video, you get a better idea of what's going on. I'm going to change this color back to white. Another edge loop up here. Once again, not giving me that edge loop. I don't know why. If I just go to ZMesher and do it that way. I mean, ZModeler, sorry. Insert, is that, yeah, this works. Okay. So that's another way to fix this problem. Right, let's go back to the retopo brush. Okay, there's that. Need one more edge loop here. Please give it to me. No, it's still not going to give me that edge loop. What if I do it from the inside? Nope. I don't know why. I don't know if this is because like the mesh underneath is kind of superseding this or. Right, again, just going to go to ZModeler real quick and add that edge loop. Switch back to retopo. And do this. I'm probably going to get some hotkeys to do these things a little bit faster. We're there and there. Okay. Right, that's done. Press D just to make sure that this is all connected correctly, and it is all good. All right, and so the back is mostly done, and now I got to figure out how to do this kind of angle here, which I kind of like, but I don't want triangles, so I have to figure out how to make these into quads over here. I'm going to see, okay, so notice here that I've got 3, And here I just wanted to go down to 2. So I've got a 3 to 2. So I look through my things here. If there's a 3 to 2, there's a 3 to 1, 2 to no, 3, 2 to 4. So I don't have a 3 to 2. I mean, basically, I'm just looking at the names here, and it tells me like it goes from 2 polygons to 1. Here it goes from 1 to 2. And so I'm not going to be able to do it with the 3 that I have here. But if I pull this out maybe to here, so this is kind of like solving a puzzle, more or less, what I'm doing. Again, I don't really want all these lines, but I need them because of this back part. It needs to be like this. So here you can see I've got a situation where I've got 3 edges coming in. And then I've got, I want them to kind of collapse down into 1. So I have to figure out a way to do that. Unfortunately, on top, it's not that big of a deal. There's just 2. So let's just extend those out. It's going to be tricky. Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. Right. By the way, I just cleared the points. So if you put points down, you want to clear them, you just click and drag, holding Control on the canvas. And here I just want to get these. I just want to get a plane going. And then I can just extend this to this point. Continue this way to here. Right, and then just bring this point forward to here. Okay, now this is an easy solve because 2 to 1 is possible, but 3 to 1 is not. So I have to figure out a way to make this work. All right, and if I don't feel like doing it right now, it's always good to do it later, I guess. So I'm just going to move this down to here like this. And sometimes solving another part of the puzzle will solve this one somewhat, or give you some hints of how to do it. Okay, and here I just want this to extend out to here. So again, you can see I'm just using the minimal amount of polygons just to get the shape that I want and get the planes that I want. And then once I have that, I can continue my project more. So I kind of like this angular view over here. So I'm just going to extend this out this way. Bring this here. I've got a triangle here, and I'm going to have a triangle here too. That's fine. I mean, you know, a triangle here, a triangle there, especially on planar triangles are not that big of an issue. I mean, it's obviously best if you have all quads, but sometimes you have to forego that. Okay, so there's that. And by the way, if you've been doing something for a long time and you kind of feel like, I don't want to do this anymore, you can always just work on another part of the mech, right? So and you work on another part of your model. And I always tell my students to do that because it just, when you come back to this again, you will come back to it fresh. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and go to Subtool. I'm going to hide this one and bring the old one back. Let's go to V1. And again, I've got a whole mech full of stuff I can work on, right? So I don't really have to work on this specific piece. So I'm going to hide it for now, and then let's go, let's focus on these legs. So now my mind is completely detached from what I was doing, and I can come back to what I was doing with a fresh set of eyes, so to speak. And I'm in the retopo brush, and I'm not going to retopo anymore. Let's go to the move brush. So now what I'm going to do here is just, my mind is completely resetting to doing something else for a while. And that's always a good thing, because it just kind of gets you not, obsessing over the same area. And also, keeps your work more interesting. It's probably more interesting to watch too, if I'm not in the same spot for like an hour. So yeah. Right. So one of the things you got to think about is, you look at the asymmetric warfare that's going on now, and you got to think about, okay, well, like what if a drone flies in and hits this? Like, what's the best way to insulate it? So you kind of add a little bit more thickness over here, so that if there's an explosion over here, that the motor that's allowing this thing's legs to move will still allow it to move. I'm also probably going to use some drone technology in this mech, like maybe have drones fly out of the back or something like that when we get around to it. Again, just trying to keep things as simple and low res as possible. This is really the key over here, is the silhouette. So I just always am checking it out. Always want to make sure that I'm getting, the type of overall design, because that's basically what's going to matter in the end. Is just the, the very detailed view. I'm sorry, the very non-detailed view, just the kind of the outside view of what you're working on. And again, if this is going to be in a movie, and I always, I mean, the way I work with things is I always want to make sure that I am, whenever I'm working on things, I always want to make sure that I am making it so that if it does need to be in a movie, or if it does need to function, that it will, be a functioning thing. It would be a dream job for me if somebody hired me to actually make a real one of these things, but I don't know if that's going to happen in my lifetime. Who knows? The rate things are going. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this. I'm just going to add an edge loop like this, and I did that with slice curve, by the way, which is also a good way to model. And what I want to do here is just place my cursor down here and create kind of like a foot of sorts, like that. And I'm going to do the same thing to the back. Again, slice curve. Where are you? Should be here. Pow. It's got a little stabilizer here, which I don't know if I'm going to need it eventually, but just gonna, it's always good to kind of make sure that the thing can stand. Okay, somebody will skip that Zen part, and that's fine. Honestly, I think that there are times, especially on projects when deadlines are flying, that you're right. It's just, I wish there was like a ZBrush that actually was more capable of getting you the results you wanted. So I think that's a place where AI might come in handy. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, retopology, part of it is, if it is helping me design, then it's fine. But if it's just tedious work, absolutely right, that it would be cool if there was some other thing to do it. Like if I could just take this mesh and just say, give me a coplanar version of it with the least amount of geometry, and have it to 99% of what I'm doing, achieve that, I think that I would be very open to using that tool. But, the problem also is that a lot of artists get hired just to do retopology, like all the kind of the highly paid artists and, Nepo artists, I call them, don't want to deal with retopology. So they hire other people and say, can you do this for me? And so, there are artists that all they're doing is retopology, and they're going like, oh yeah, I'm a junior artist, I have to do this first, and then one day I'll get to do the big boy stuff. And sadly, once you do retopology and you do it well, that's what people call on you for. But yeah, as far as the process is concerned, it is definitely one of those things where that UVing, those are things where if AI can kind of come up with a good solution, I think it'll be welcomed by a lot of people. Right? But yeah, I mean, usually when I UV or retopo, I usually put some music on and just get into the zone and do it and get it done. I tend to not like other people doing my UVs or my retopo as well, because I kind of want to have more control. All right. I'm getting pretty good vibes of how this leg looks. And what I want to do here is I want to take these guys and duplicate them. Move these duplicates out, make them bigger, and make them symmetry, not dynamic. What's going on with this? Delete by symmetry. That's fine. I'll just do one side first. Again, this is a part which would be vulnerable, so I'm going to make a big chunky kind of cover for it so that if something hits it, it survives it. Put one on the other side, mirror the whole thing over. Symmetry, clip curve, delete by symmetry again. Just want to make this a little bit thinner. Okay. All right, so I've got this. Okay, this is protected. Now this area here is really kind of vulnerable too, but I think I can probably I mean, another thing I could do is I can incorporate this to the top as well. So see, this is a good reason for me to have stopped retopoing, just because now I can kind of go like, oh, okay, maybe it might be a good idea to add this bottom part to that top part. And this is the area I probably will have a little bit of fun figuring out how to redo. Ton of War 2 coming. Fun next year. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of think of this as, okay, as realistic as possible, and mostly thinking of it for entertainment, a game or a movie or something like that. I definitely don't want these things to be used in real life. But, I mean, if you're going to make a game or a movie or something that's believable, that is kind of with today's technology or even tomorrow's technology, you kind of have to, imagine those things. I remember when I visited Sid Mead, he was talking about how he used to read scientific magazines to get kind of some ideas for some of the futuristic designs he made. So I'm sure he would, be reading Scientific American or Omni or some of the, some of the magazines that, not that Omni's was a scientific magazine, but it did have some, interesting scientific facts. It's the other thing I think that's kind of horribly gone is magazines. It's like it used to be so interesting. You'd wait a month, you'd have a month to read a magazine, an issue, and you'd wait a month for the next one. And now I think they're mostly gone. I mean, I think they're just, if I pick up a magazine, first of all, it's a lot thinner than it used to be. And the content is not as potent as it used to be before. So the benefits of new technology sometimes have adverse effects. I mean, I understand replacing an encyclopedia with some sort of, with Wikipedia. I mean, that makes sense. It was not fun going and digging through an encyclopedia to find the topic and then reading it and whatnot. I mean, it's instantaneous now. You just say, give me the information about this, and it's there. But something like periodicals or magazines, like what has replaced a magazine? I don't know. Is it a website? Is it a news source? What is the replacement for the magazine technology? Is it a tweet? Is it a Facebook post? I mean, what has replaced what we used to get there? If anybody knows or has an idea, let me know, because I'm perplexed as to how we can completely get rid of a way of informing people. I remember I used to have, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 magazines come to my home every month. Time, National Geographic, a lot of different things like that are just completely Instagram. Yeah. Right. I mean, I'm not complaining about the new things that are there. I'm just saying, like, how, like sitting down and reading an article about something, that's not an Instagram post or a reel. It's just a gone thing. Even PCs, like there was PC Magazine, there was Maximum PC, there was Byte. There were all these amazing magazines with amazing articles, and they're all gone. Maximum PC went digital, and then they went away. And now I don't know, like there are different websites where I can go to find out about PC stuff, but not as comprehensive as how and amazing as that used to be. It's so sad. I don't know what it is about me streaming, but all the kids in the neighborhood, their volume goes up significantly. I don't know why. Oh, it's my special superpower, I guess. They get really rowdy, they jump around, they break stuff, you know, it's just like some kind of, I emit some sort of a thing that says, be rowdy. I don't know if I'm happy about this piece. I keep messing with it because I just don't think it's right. Maybe that's what needs to happen to it. Okay, better. All right. Now, one of the things I'm really not happy about here is that the guns are pretty small compared to this mech. I want these guns to be a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do, live stream over a magazine. That's kind of interesting. Yeah. But it's still not the same. Like, you know, a magazine article just kind of has a whole bunch of other things. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to mask these parts. You know, just mask island. I mean, yeah, you know, I think you're right. I think that I mean, we've got other forms of entertainment for sure, but you know, and this is informative. Yeah, live streams are informative for sure. Okay, if I mask that polygroup, why is it not fully masked? Island. Oh, I want to just mask the island, not polygroup island. Again, user error. All right, here we go. And here I'm just kind of trying to play with the proportionality of making the guns bigger. I think I kind of like this size a bit more. Yeah, there we go. That definitely makes more sense to me. What if we have two different sizes of guns? I mean, it won't be this, of course, but okay. All right, I kind of like this more. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go to this one, delete it, and just do a control drag this one to add it over here. Oh, you know what? It's not going to work if it's masked. I unmasked that part. It's still not working. What the heck? Oh, no, it's fine. It was working. But yeah, I don't know. I sure would like something to replace magazines. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. All right, so looking a lot more menacing now. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, that's good. These needs to be out a bit more. Oh. Split mask points. Again, this type of playing with the design is something that you can only do in ZBrush. Like, I don't know if you could do these kinds of things in any other application. And that's why I like it. Yeah, YouTube, that's interesting. I mean, definitely, I think YouTube is replacing more TV than magazines. right? But that's a good perspective. All right. Yeah, I'm really liking how this is coming out. Okay. All right. So, I mean, it's interesting to see, like, even just in this hour and a half that we've had so far, like how far this has kind of progressed. So now let's look at this piece right here. I don't think I need to do much for this piece. I think I can just really look to simplifying it. And how simple is it already? So at this point, I'm just going to go to a ZRemesher and see if I can delete some of these lines here. To reduce the polygon count where it's really not doing anything. So it's doing something here. Is this doing anything? Nope. Yeah, when you do things like this, you just basically optimize the model. You get the basic shapes in place, and then you can kind of, again, looking to make things a bit coplanar. Okay, I just want to make sure I get the basic shapes. I mean, this isn't really going to be a key part of the mech per se, so you know, it just needs to look okay. There's a lot of space here that needs to do something, and I'll figure something out for it. Let's turn QMesh on here and see if I can add a little bit of a lip here. No. All right. Had to get rid of some AI viewer thing. Yeah, right. I mean, there was the Barnes and Noble magazine section. There were like newsstands. There were so many of them, and they're all gone now. One of the things that one of the bookstores that I go to is Book Soup. That's still around, and they do still have a magazine stand, and it's so kind of sad to go see the state that it's in. Because like I said, like, you know, half the magazines aren't there anymore. I mean, there's so many amazing magazines, and the photography and the you know, amazing editorials and whatnot. And now, you know, there are still those magazines, but they're just a shadow of what they used to be. And right, so this is going to house a big thing in here. And even books, like, you know, the last few books I've read on my iPad. I haven't even read them in physical form. In one way, it's good because books take up a lot of space. Unless they're art books, it's just, you know, they're just sitting there taking up space on your bookshelf. And you can have them digitally. Also, it's less kind of materials used, I guess. So it's good ecologically. So I get that for like certain technical books or whatnot. It's always good to kind of have like I would never not want to have a book version of 1984 because I probably will be reading it again and again. But a lot of books, it's better for them to be digital. Also, like if you have errors or whatever, you can correct them on the go. I mean, it's just, certain things it makes sense, but certain things it doesn't. I think of the art magazines, the only one that's left is Imagine Effects. 3D Artist went away, 3D World went away. There's so many of them, especially when 3D was new. God, there were like New Tech magazine for, video toaster users and Lightwave users. And then there was, there were all these magazines that just came out and then they all slowly died. I've kept a few issues here and there, but all right, I'm kind of looking at this area over here and trying to figure out if there's a more elegant way to solve that area. And again, it's just this piece that I've been struggling with. And I don't know if it makes more sense for it to be less protruding or more. Kind of like this silhouette. All right. So now, that I've kind of stepped away from it, I'm going to go back to that retopology here and see if I can redo it. Now I'm going to do something kind of risky, but I'm going to do it anyway, which is I'm going to take this piece that I made and I'm going to take, well, not this one, but this one. I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm also going to duplicate this part. And I'm going to Boolean them together. Okay, so here we go. Where are you? Here's this one. Nope, not this one. This one. Just going to bring it to the bottom here. Now, where's the other part that I created? This one. Yep. Bring that down to the bottom. Okay, and then I'm just going to put these two in a folder. And Boolean them together. I mean, it's not going to be pretty, but it'll work. Boolean folder. Did it do it? Oh, it would help if I did this and turn this on. Turn solo off. Maybe let's go to view 3 here, where all we're seeing is these guys. Okay, and then Boolean folder. And here's our new piece. And I'm just going to check and see. I mean, the topology is miserable. Like you can just see it's mushed together. But I don't care because I just want the overall shape. And I'm just checking to see, does this make sense as one piece? And it totally does, more or less. And the reason why I did that is because when I do retopo now, I just want to retopo over that. And it'll just be one kind of thing. Okay, so I got V3 on, this one. I don't really need to see these guys. Actually, you can get rid of this folder, but I'm just going to keep it for now. Okay, let's continue that retopo. And let's go to the retopo brush. Now see, this has got the marching ants, so when I click on the retopo brush, it just goes back to that. Of course, brings the red back, but I'm going to keep the red for now. And just move this out. Oh, shoot. That was not fun, guys. And I don't know when the last save was, so we probably lost quite a bit of work, but it happens. Oh, such a heartbreak. I guess it's not that bad. All right, just 1 second here. Just reloading. Okay, so I did lose the making the guns bigger, but a lot of what I did is still here. So, you know, I didn't lose any of the stuff I did with the legs. And I think this is I did work with this a little bit, so I can change it. Could have been a lot worse. So, which is a good reminder to save early and save often. And also, whenever you do a Boolean, like always check that mesh. I think that's probably what caused it. So again, it's like, yeah, it is an unfortunate thing that happened, but you know, I was doing something I should not have been doing, which is just trusting a Boolean mesh. Okay, so here I'm just going to do the guns again. What I usually tell my students also is that, you know, when things like that happened, it's a way for you to redo something and maybe you'll do it better this time, right? Every time I've had to redo something, it's been, you know, it's kind of given me maybe a little bit better results. Okay, there's that. And then I'm just going to do it with the other one as well. I think the other thing also is that, you know, you kind of get a little bit desensitized to it, the crash, if you work often enough, because you just expect that it is going to happen at some point, right? And as unfortunate as that is, you just know that it's kind of part of the routine, that you are going to encounter a crash, and it might not be, you might lose some work, but it'll kind of force you to make sure that you save. Okay, just turn perspective on for a second here to kind of see how these look. Right, perspective back off, split mask points. All right, so more or less we're back to where we were. We might have lost a few things here and there, but not a big deal. going to mask this island here. Come on. And invert the mask and just make this a little bit wider. Local symmetry, non-dynamic on. Active symmetry is on. Okay, just make these a bit wider just for now. Again, just a placeholder for what is to come. I think I made the guns even bigger the first time, so I'm just going to try and see if that works here. I think this is about a good size just there. All right. Delete these guys and duplicate this one and move it up. Looking at this from the top, it looks good. Switch to these guys. All right. I think we're a little bit back to where we were, maybe a little bit more stuff that's a little bit different, but still, this is the direction that things wanted to go in on their own, so we're just going to accept that. Except with the guns, I guess they could clear. They're just going to be pointing up, right? I'm just looking to see if they clear this top part, and I'm just seeing that they will clash. You know, it could go up. Yeah, they probably need to go up further. So these need to be a little bit smaller. So they can have the clearance to go up to here. I think that's pretty high up. Maybe it's shooting down a drone or something. And down. Yep, that's good. I think this is a good, better size. Right. Okay. But now the button ones are a different size, so I'll just fix those. Again, these are just placeholders for the guns. I probably will need to do a little bit more work on these guns to get them here. Okay, I'm just going to delete these guys. Okay, yeah. And just holding Control just to create a copy of it. To about there. Split mask points and move this over to here. And I don't know if I'm going to do this method or if I'm going to actually pull the geometry out. I haven't decided yet, but this could use to move back a bit to here, and here we go. All right, so this is kind of what we have ended up with. And I like this a little bit more than what we had before. I probably will rewatch the video to see what the size was before, but I think this is good enough. All right. Okay, so we're kind of getting closer to the end times here for this for the stream. So I'll just open it up to questions that you might have, and just kind of taking a quick look at my reference over here. See if there's anything I missed. I think this is coming along nicely. All right. So it's always good to kind of do renders of these things. I'll do that for the last 6 minutes until you guys maybe come up with a question or two. But it's always good to kind of pop in a floor here. Uh-oh. Okay, this is really funny. This whole time we've been working, this mech has kind of not been in the right orientation. How about that? Right, so what I'm going to do here, easy fix, by the way, really, really easy fix, is I'm going to make sure everything is visible. And here's a situation where that builders folder that I had is going to not work for me because this part is oriented the wrong way. So if I want this to work, I'm just going to click on this folder here, select it, copy it. So copy folder, and this is part of the subtool master thing. And then go back into my Mac here and paste that folder at the end. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing that, you'll know in a little bit here. Okay, so that folder is pasted. I'm going to move it all the way to the bottom. I'm going to keep it here for a while, and then I'll move it over afterwards. So now I'm just going to press W here and go to pizza boxes and make sure that I'm selecting everything. And I also want to make sure everything is visible, right? So you want to make sure everything is visible, everything is selected, and that way you can rotate the whole mech. Now, the original gun, I don't want to rotate. I wanted to keep that exactly the way it was. So I'm going to go ahead and unselect that one and then just rotate everything else. Okay, so there's the mech rotated. Here it is. It has the right orientation. Everything is good. So yeah, good to go. Okay, and then once I've done this, I don't need to see this anymore. I can hide it and get off of pizza boxes and maybe hide some of these parts that I don't want to see. Okay, and now that I have this, I'll turn perspective on. Maybe choose an angle, camera angle like 80, focal length of about 80, or 100 would work as well. As perspective on, it is. Maybe go, all right. So now the size-wise, I think it's fine. It's fitting into this square here that ZBrush has created. So now I can just go ahead and just do a quick render. See what we get. Okay, not bad, not bad. And then let's go ahead and go into some render filters here and see if we can get an interesting look for it. I'm going to reduce the number of rows here so I can see the Mac. I can just move it up here. Now these renders happen pretty quick, so I don't really care about the render time. And then I can just kind of go and like check out a few different looks here to kind of get an idea of what this will look like. A lot of these don't make sense. Just randomly clicking on a few. That's actually not bad. And again, if I want to, enhance this or, just have it in a painting or whatever, this would be pretty easy to do like this. Let's see, what's this one? It's weird. It's weird too. A lot of these might not work. Maybe this one. Yeah, this one kind of looks neat. Right? So now I can get an idea of like some compositions with this that I will do once I get done with it. And these are just kind of, previs, getting an idea of what it would look like. Again, none of this is detailed or anything like that. It's just me trying things out. It's kind of weird. Let's get that angle. It's kind of cool in a way. And of course you can modify these if you need to, but right now I'm just kind of fishing through some of these just to get some ideas of what it would look like if the silhouette works. Get some ideas of when I am going to render it, what it would look like. Okay, these are all good. I have some of my own here. Let me try some of my user ones. Render presets. It's an interesting one. Here we go. I'm just trying these ones out. Here's the tune one that I have. And we can go back to these ones. Let's try this one. These are ones that I've kept from before. That one kind of looks cool. These are from the mech that I did earlier for the stream. Okay, so I think that looks good. I don't know why we're not getting the shadows on the floor. Let's get a bit of a... We are. I guess what I have is the shadows are the lighter color and the background is that. So if I make the background maybe a little bit lighter, they'll show up. Yep, here we go. I mean, even like this, it's kind of a neat render. If we do a few more and then I'll end the stream. Okay, let's see what it looks like with Pablo's tune thing. It's not bad. But this one. These I got from Pascal Blanchet's kits. But for these, you need the document to be a certain size. They're pretty neat. This one's kind of neat. Again, like so much shows up here. What I also can see right from this render, and I'll make it a little bit bigger because it'll show better, is I can see the juxtaposition of high detail versus low detail. And I do want that to be a thing. So, all right. Last render here. Let's try a couple more of these just for kicks. This one looks like it's a sketch. It's kind of neat. All right. Well, it seems like there's no more questions, so I will end the stream here. And again, thank you for all those of you that joined me live and continue to join me live. I really appreciate you and appreciate the fact that you take the time out of your day to watch this and comment. Make sure again to like and subscribe. Definitely like. That helps us out a lot. And also, I wanted to mention that I will be off for the rest of this month. So I only did one stream during July. And I will not be doing a stream in 2 streams in August, but I'll be back in September. Let me actually see what date that is, so I can tell you. So yeah, so I'm not going to be on the 24th. I'm not going to have a stream then. And in August, I'm not going to have one. So the next opportunity will be either September 4th or September 11th. Probably the 4th, I'll do it. So the 4th, September 4th is when I'll return, right? So no streams from me until September 4th, and then I will start them on that day. All right, so thanks again, and happy ZBrushing, everybody. Have a good day.